Our guest today is author Aaron Paul Lazar, talking about his Gus LeGarde Mystery Series and the latest installment, Tremolo, Cry of the Loon. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you, Barb. It's a pleasure to be here.
The Gus LeGarde Mystery Series debuted back in 2004 with Double Forte, then came upstaged in 2005, and now the third installment, Tremolo, in 2007. Can you tell us what the series is about and how it got started? And when you wrote Double Forte, did you know it was going to be a series?
I'd love to, Barb. Well, LeGarde Mysteries are what I call country mysteries. They're set in the Genesee Valley and the Finger Lakes regions primarily, and they're very wholesome mysteries. They have the obligatory chase scenes as suspense, and there are very serious crimes that happen, but the crimes are off-scene, and I don't dwell on the blood and the gore. In addition to the normal murder content, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes, such as themes like learning to cope with loss, nurturing one's family, being one with nature, and standing up to evil. And I always knew I would write a mystery series. I thought it would be when I retired and when the kids were gone, but in 1997 my dad died, and it floored me. I was totally crushed. I needed some kind of solace, and so I turned to writing, and writing ended up being the therapy that I needed. I based my character, Gus LeGarde, on my father, and thus this series was born.
Many mystery series have sort of a series gimmick or brand, like Sue Grafton follows the alphabet. Do the Gus LeGarde Mysteries have a series gimmick?
Well, LeGarde Mysteries are musical mysteries. And you'll find as you're reading them that sometimes Gus will play a Chopin etude to soothe his soul, or he'll play the Beethoven Moonlight Sonata for his little grandson, or you'll catch him in his classroom teaching anything from opera to the blues to his students. And you'll also notice the titles. The titles are either musical or theatrical. So we have Double Forte, upstaged in Tremolo, which you've mentioned, Mazurka, which is coming out this fall, and those are followed by Fire Song, Portamento, Virtuoso, Counterpoint, and Lady Blues.
Your sleuth and main character is Gus LeGarde. Give us a character profile. Who is this guy? And from book 1 to book 3, does he change?
Well, Gus is a music professor who lives in the country in a big old rambling house with his extended family. When the series opens, however, he's very desolate. He's mourning the loss of his lifetime soulmate, Elsbeth, who died 4 years before Double Forte opens. So he throws himself into caring for his little grandson and lavishing love on his dog, and he cooks these feasts for his family to try to ease the pain, but it doesn't really work. And then he meets Camille, and Camille gives him a second chance at life.
Place figures significantly in your mysteries, whether it is the Genesee Valley or Belgrade, Maine. What role does place play in your books?
Barb, a sense of place is very important to me. I want my readers to feel like they are in the scene with Gus or his family. And so whether Gus is riding his horses over the rolling hills of the Genesee Valley, or swimming in a lake in Belgrade, or playing in his gardens or whatever, I want the readers to feel like they're right there, and those locations really are intimately involved with the stories.
Tremolo is set in Maine in the 1960s, and Gus is a boy You call it a lakeside coming-of-age mystery. Tell us more about the book.
Well, Tremolo, as you mentioned, is the prequel to Double Forte, which was the founding book of the series. And it takes Gus right back to 1964, when he was only 11 years old. And this is when Beatlemania hits the States for the first time, and the world is mourning the loss of JFK. So Gus gets his first brush with evil against a backdrop of some of the most momentous events to rock the nation. Now, the reason I wrote Gus back in 1964 is because I went to a most amazing place every childhood summer. It was my grandparents' camp in Belgrade, Maine. And those memories were so important to me, I had to get them on paper. So that's why I wrote it.
Will there be more Gus LeGarde Mysteries in the future?
God willing, yes. I plan to write them until the day I die. I have many more stories coming, and there are 9 to date now. Right now, the next one that's coming out is Mazurka, which is this fall, and that's the 4th one. 5th one, Fire Song, I just sent to my publisher with the final edits, so that'll come in another year or 2 afterwards.
And who is your publisher?
Twilight Times Books in Tennessee. Very nice, small, independent press.
Our listeners are no doubt wondering, who is Aaron Paul Lazar? Tell us some about yourself and your background and how it relates to writing the Gus LeGarde Mysteries.
Well, my day job is engineering, but my passion is writing. I'm a husband, father of 3 grown, lovely girls, and grandfather of 3 beautiful children. Gus and my father and I are actually a lot alike in that I love gardening, cooking, kids and animals, nature, photography, music, art, all of the above.
What is your writing process like?
Well, when I'm writing a new book, I spend each night writing about a chapter a day. I don't outline, I just let it flow out of me, and the stories tumble out without me worrying too much about the details or the editing at the moment. It takes about 2 to 3 months to complete a draft, and once that's done, then the hard part begins, and that's the editing and the entire process we go through to get it actually into print, which could take 2 or 3 years after that.
And do you work with an editor?
Yes, I have a critique circle of a number of very fine writers that help me dozens and dozens of times go over the manuscript before it actually goes to my publisher's editor, and then we start all over again.
You do a lot of book signings and author appearances throughout the Finger Lakes region, especially at the area wineries. How would you describe opportunities for local authors in the Finger Lakes region?
Well, Barb, you know, newspaper articles and radio interviews and book signings and book clubs, they don't just fall into your lap when you write a book. You have to work very hard to get them, and it takes years of networking and becoming friends with folks and taking interest in them, as well as trying to get word out about you. My current favorite event is at Heron Hill Winery, where I pretty much exclusively sign now. Every 4 to 6 weeks I go down there, and I'm very happy with that. I also have an opportunity in North Carolina coming up soon with an English professor who's using tremolo in one of her classes.
Where can people get your Gus LeGarde books, and do you have a website?
Yes, I do have a website. It's LeGardeMysteries.com, and you can get my books pretty much anywhere. They're orderable through any bookstore. If the store doesn't have them on the shelves, you just bring in the ISBN number and they'll order it. Or you can go online to all of the Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and things like that. And of course at libraries, all the local libraries have them. And I keep a stock at home that I'm happy to sign and send to my readers. I have another website too called More Mysteries, and that's actually a brand new series. It's a paranormal mystery series that's just starting up. The debut novel is coming out this fall, and it's called Healy's Cave.
Thank you, Aaron Paul Lazar, for visiting Wood Library and telling us about your Gus LeGarde Mystery Series and the latest installment, Tremolo, Cry of the Loon.
Thank you, Barb. It's been my pleasure.